Hello friends, welcome back. I am Flutter by Nessa and I want to share with you my sort of roundup for the project pan for 2018. I started out with lots and lots of products and kind of adjusted midway through the year to find something that was going to be more manageable, more inspiring, and keep me excited to be doing this. So I ended up with about 15 products, I think, and I will list them down below. And I'll list the ones that I finished completely, and I will show you the ones. There were 8 left when I last checked in at the beginning of December, and I'm going to show you how that went. Here we go. Okay, so last time I did say that I was on the very last leg of my age rewind from Maybelline, and I did officially finish it up. You cannot make this do anything else. I've gone either way, every way. It's officially really gone. There are 7 products left and I did what I could for them. I did not end up using as much of the blush as I wanted to. I just have some other blushes that I'm excited to use. If you can see, this was a domed product. It's a much flatter dome now, but there's just no way that I'm hitting pan on that. And that's fine. I got a lot more use out of it than I would have otherwise. It would have just kind of languished in the back of my blush pile if I hadn't put it in this project. So I'm happy with that. The next one that I want to look at is the Cindy Luminizer, and this is kind of that pale pink highlight, although for me it's more of a blush topper because I'm quite pale myself, and so it's too pink for me to just use as a highlight. But it does illuminate the cheeks and it gives a very fresh look to them. So you can see that there is a good dent in there. So I got some good use out of that. I would not have used nearly as much if I had not put it in my project. So again, not hitting pan, but got way more use out of it than I would have otherwise. So I'm also happy with the progress that I made on that one. I did use my Too Faced The Secret to No Makeup Fresh and Flawless Face Palette. That is such a mouthful. No wonder this one did not stay in the line. Holy cow. So much to say. But I did get more use out of this. I used quite a bit of the bronzer after I thought that I maybe wouldn't use it at all on the last update. And I did use the blush and the cream a little bit more. The cream looks like it's drying out now. I just think that this is going to have to be moved out of my collection altogether pretty soon. The bronzer is shimmery, which sometimes is fine, but sometimes I go in hard with my bronzer, and if I don't switch to a matte one, it can be a little bit too shiny for me. But I do like it on the tops of the cheeks and kind of on the sides of the forehead. That's how I like to use it best. So you can see that I did get a lot of use actually out of the bronzer. I don't know if you can tell how much pan is on the sides there as you look at that. I did get a good amount of use out of that bronzer. The blushes, I just think they're too hard to get to as far as like having to get this entire palette out. And like I said, I have a lot of blushes to choose from, so I'm not necessarily going to be reaching for something that's that bulky with so many other items that I can't use at the same time. As far as face palettes go, that one didn't really work out for me in the long run, but I did get way more use out of it having it in the project pan than I would have otherwise. I'm going to be saying that a lot. Let's look at the other face palette that I had. It's the NYX Highlight and Contour Pro Palette, and I did end up getting pretty good use out of this. Some of these shades just aren't ideal for my skin tone, and so there was that. There's not a whole lot that I was going to do to be able to get past that. These, like this bronzer shade, just is a little too intense. It does blend out pretty nicely, but it goes on a little heavy at first and you really do have to work with it, so it's a little more work than I would really like to have to spend with that. I love the tone of this contour. I just don't contour very much. This color that I got, I think it's called Nude Tude. This is one that I replaced in here. I took out one of the darkest colors and I put this one in instead from the NYX store. We have an actual NYX cosmetic store in the mall near me. And so I bought this one and replaced the darkest shade in there, and I got a lot of really good use. I did get a lot of use out of the Champagne highlighter, and I made a really good dent in the cream matte highlight. I started using this shimmery highlight quite a lot in the last couple of weeks, and I do like it a lot, but I think it emphasizes texture more than some of the other highlighters that I have. Some of my one of my favorite ones for giving a good highlight but not emphasizing texture is from It Cosmetics. I'll have to get that one out another time and show you. Maybe I'll just do a highlighter collection. But this one, while nice, it did emphasize more texture. And I'm almost 40, I'm 38, and so I have texture. I have, you know, all the issues that come with age and getting older and everything. And so I need to pay a little bit more attention to that than if I were, say, 18 or so. But I enjoyed having this in my project pan. I'm glad that I did that. I probably will not keep it on my like top shelf anymore. I've had on next to my vanity, I have some shelves, and I've just had all of my project pan things sitting off to the side right within arm's reach to help remind me to use them. And I will probably put this back on a shelf or move it along because I just have other things that I would like to reach into. I'm glad that I had this in my project pan, and I'm happy with the progress that I made. Oh, let me give you a close-up. There we go. I think you can get a pretty good idea of what was happening there. You can see all the pan here, good pan here, and also in that cream matte highlight. This one doesn't look like there's anything going on, but I really did use it quite a bit, and this one I used fairly regularly. I alternated mostly between this one and the Too Faced one as far as using project pan bronzers. So sticking with the theme of palettes, I'm going to show the Nude Tude palette that I was working on. I did not hit pan on all of the ones that I was hoping to. It's hard to hit pan on shadows, especially when I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes. A lot. And I keep buying more because they're what makes me happy and what gets me excited. I got a good feel for what works for me in here and what I really enjoyed, and I'm pleased with how much I've been able to use it. I will actually probably still dip into this even after taking it out of my project pan. I don't think I'm just going to be like, whew, nailed it, move it along and get it out of there, because I felt like I was making good progress, and it's taught me that I don't have to be quite so gentle with my shadows. If it's an issue of pigmentation and there's a lot of pigmentation, then sure, go in gently, but like with these ones, you can go in pretty sturdily and just tap off the excess and then go in, and there's a lot of product in there, way more than I had anticipated. So let me zoom you in or give you a close-up and you can see where I've made my progress. So the best progress that I have is this one with Stubborn. That's definitely the biggest pan. I feel like I'm really close in Sultry, and I made a really good dent. I don't know how much you can see. In Sexy there's a good dent, and in Sleek there's a really good dent. Seductive has a nice dip in it, and Selfish. Also Standoffish was getting pretty good. Sassy has a dip right over here, and Snobbish, I didn't actually use Snobbish much during the year, but it already had a pretty good dip in it. I do like that color a lot, and it goes really well with one of my ColourPop shadow palettes, my ColourPop eyeshadow palettes. Which one is that? I think it's actually the California State of Mind ColourPop palette. I really like the buttery color that they have in there, and pair it with this buttery color called Snobby. So I'm really happy with that. I probably will continue to use this even though it's old and it's done its job. I'll have to go through and look at some of my other neutral palettes and see if there's one that I like as well as this. I really like the burgundy sort of brown in Sexy. I feel like that's just, it really complements my coloring. I learned a long time ago when I used to dye my hair every time I was bored with it and I didn't want to cut it, I needed to have a little bit of red in it because otherwise I look like death. And so I find that to be true a lot of the time with the eyeshadows that I use. If they're a little bit warmer, if they have a little bit of a red tinge to it, then it just is more flattering on my skin. Moving on to Sonia Kashuk, the Hidden Agenda Concealer Palette. I did go in hard on this one, and I'm really proud of the progress that I made on this one. Let me show you. So I managed to hit pan on everything. I used this one for under my eyes, I used this one just to cover things up that needed covering, and I used this for color correcting over blemishes and things. So general concealing and color correcting. I really liked this palette. I will probably continue to use it a little bit longer. I think it does a really nice job. You do have to be careful that you don't put on too heavy of a layer because it can look cakey if you do that, but if you go in nice and sheer, it does a really good job. I really like it. I'm happy that I had it, and I'm really glad that I got more use out of it. Now the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the Extreme Wear Matte Finish Mousse Blush in Peach Glow from Ulta. Again, this one was really old, but I got so much use out of it. Here, you see all of that pan at the bottom, and there's just not much around the edges either. I will probably continue to use this because I just enjoy it. I'm happy to have it, and I can see myself finishing this up this year. I might put it in a project pan. I'm debating whether or not to do another project pan this year. I think it was Samantha March who said that 19 and 19 sounds a little overwhelming, and I agree. Even 15 products last year was a lot. I got through several things. I think the things that I like to pan most are cream products because they're easier to actually get through and make progress on, but there are some powder products that I would probably like to add in there as well. So if I were to do a 9 in 2019, then I think I would probably put this one back in there because I think I could finish it up and I just enjoy using it, so it would be worth it to have it in there and be able to continue to track my progress. If you would be interested in seeing another project pan, 9 in 2019 from me, go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe so you can come back and keep up on all my progress. And do come visit me again, please, in all of my other videos. I hope you're having an excellent day, and I will see you later.